I had just written a Christmas movie, and I knew I wanted to do something that was polar opposite to that. And my niece was over at my house, Kanani, who is not Hawaiian, and we happened to see this great documentary on 30 for 30 that Nanette Burstein did about Tonya Harding. And I thought, well, nothing doesn't say Christmas like Tonya Harding, So I went on the Tonya Harding website to see if I could even get the life rights, and I called the number for her agent, and it was a Motel 6. And I thought, I'm in. Like, I don't know where this is going to take me. I don't know what a sign looks like, but that's a sign. And so I tracked down this woman in Texas who was very nice, who said she was Tanya's manager, but she's not. And Tonya calls her mom, but she isn't. And because I had other movies made before, she sort of acted as a liaison between me and Tonya, and I flew to Sisters, Oregon, where she was living at the time. And the first time I went up there was just to meet her and see if we liked each other, because I wouldn't do it if we didn't like each other, and if I could get the life rights. And she picked me up at my lodge, because you stay in lodges in Sisters, in her pickup truck, but there was no outside door handle. So I sort of was just like looking at it like, I can't get in, and she had to open it for me. And then we went out to lunch and we just talked and got along. And the next time I went up there, I got the life rights, and I went up there for a few days and interviewed her. And then I thought, I have to interview Jeff Gillooly or I don't have a movie. And so I tracked him down in a minute, because you can. And I do not know why he decided to talk to me, because he's never given an interview about what happened. He's commented on stuff, and he's done sort of the where are they now kind of thing, but he's never told his side of the story. And I just wormed my way in and interviewed him, and how he remembered things and how Tonya remembered things were wildly different.
Really?
Wildly different. And I thought, well, that's my in. I'll just put everybody's point of view up there and let the audience decide what they think happened.
It's surprising to me that nobody has approached Tonya about telling her story, really.
I think they did back in the day, and I think they did like a Lifetime movie, but that was the last thing I wanted to do.
Right.
I really, I wanted to reinvent myself, because I was sort of known just as writing romantic comedies, which they were rapidly not making anymore. So I had to reinvent myself, but it bothered me because I never thought I was just one thing. And it's interesting, in hindsight, what must have drawn me to the project was, Tonya and all the characters were just reduced to a punchline, to just one thing by the media. And that paralleled what I was going through. But that was very subconscious. I didn't really realize it until after I wrote it,
And so what was the idea behind, like you said, you're trying to kind of reinvent yourself a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
going to a different, way. So why go kind of like a darker comedy? Because I was looking at the trailer today, and there are a lot of kind of funnier elements to the movie, but it's not.
I think I just come out that way. I think I come out funny and sad, But I like that, I didn't want the tone to be just one thing. It's a very tricky tone, and that's why I really wanted to do it independently, because I felt like the tone wouldn't survive the studio system, and frankly, the studio system wasn't knocking on the door, and I was like, well, let's just do this independently,
Well, so it must be nice to, I know the world premiered at the Toronto Film Festival,
It
right?
did, yeah.
And it's getting rave reviews, everyone's loving it. How does that feel?
Delicious. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The last movie I had, we just got beat up by the critics. Beat up, and I really liked the movie. And we got beat up, and I quit. And I was like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'll do something else, even though I'm completely unskilled. It's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'd already written the Tonya Harding script. So when we went out with it, I was so busy feeling sorry for myself because I got beat up that I wasn't even paying attention. And the response to the script, was just huge. And I was so grateful, because I found out there's nothing worse than a nice long rest after a great big flop. You need something else. I was just so glad I had it.
So when writing the movie, did you have like a particular kind of like actress in mind, or do you ever do that when you write a movie?
Well,
Like,
I wrote Allison Janney's part for Allison Janney. I've known Allison for 150 years. We were both at the Neighborhood Playhouse, which is an acting school in New York, together. And she was great back then, but she was 20 and she looked 40. She had to wait. But I've always written parts for her, and she's never gotten to play them. And on this one, I just said, we're doing this independent, and because there was a lot of attention to the script, I could say, Allison Janney is playing the part I wrote for her, and I want it in writing, or I'm not going to come and meet you. And I did sort of do that before Allison had read the script and said she wanted to do it. But it took her forever to read it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm just going to gamble. I can always go
so
back.
it could have gone the other way.
Could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she steals the movie.
I hear, yeah.
But, I mean, everyone steals the movie. They're all so good. All the actors are so good. But I did write it for her, unquestionably.
That's pretty awesome.
And now she's getting all this acclaim. And it's so moving, that's for both of us.
Yeah, and Margot's getting a lot of good reviews for her performance as well.
It was amazing in this movie. I mean, we had 256 scenes that we shot in 31 days. So that's a lot. And everyone took scale. Everyone took minimum. I mean, that was the spirit of the movie. And I mean, there were days where Margot would come in and have to be like 3 or 4 different ages, and she would just modulate her voice ever so slightly for each age on the same day, and she just did it without any fuss, and you kind of feel like it's easy to overlook how good she is and what she did, because she doesn't bring any drama to it, or she's not like preparing in the corner. She's just doing it, and it looks effortless, but it can't be. It's because she's prepared. I really wanted a seat at the table, because I never had one before. I'd only been on the set of one of my movies, and it's not like, oh, they don't like me. I hadn't even met them. On this one, I was an executive producer on the last movie, and so on this one, I wanted a seat at the table, and I really wanted, to be a part of it. And so I partnered up with Brian Uncless, and then when Margot came on, it was her and Tom Ackerley. And when we got Craig, it was great because all of us saw the movie together. I had it in my contract that I couldn't be rewritten without my consent. And that's the first time I ever got it. And I only got it because people wanted the script, but I didn't need it, ironically enough. The one time I didn't need it, I got it because everybody had my back, and we did all see it the same way.
That's so awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
I don't want this experience to end. People ask me, what are you going to write next? I'm like, I don't want to. I just want this one to last.
Just enjoy this one while you can, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, so finally, you're here in Austin for the Austin Film Festival. Just talk to me a little bit about why, you're excited about having it screen here, and then also just, what you liked about the festival.
Well, they invited me. There's that. They asked for me. I heard there's a rivalry between the Austin Film Festival and South by Southwest. I don't know if that's true or not, but they said, you might have to pick one. And I said, well, the Austin Film Festival asked. It's an easy pick.
Yeah.
Now I'm very excited to be here because it feels like big, and I mean this in a good way, film nerds, because I'm a film nerd. I love movies, and anytime people come to a festival, it's a celebration of that, So yeah, I'll be a part of that. Those are my people,